Welcome to day 3. Here we go. Problem 1, which shows 27 hundredths as a decimal. Remember this code here? This THS is telling you it's a fractional part and that it comes after the decimal. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a number line just to help us. So after the decimal, the first place value, we call that the tenths. The next one would be the hundredths. And you got to say the THS and you got to have like a little spittle when you say that, because that's how you know that you're after the decimal. And then this would be the thousandths. All right. And so this is where you would do. So now it's asking us to show where 27 hundredths as a decimal. So I'm going to fill this in. The 27 is the 7 is going to be in the last place value that you say. So you're saying the hundredths. So that 7 has to come here. Then you can write out the number 27ths, and this will help you when you're looking at numbers. So you don't even have a thousandths place. You don't even need to include anything. So if I were to rewrite it over here, 27 hundredths as a decimal looks just like that. And then if you want to even just practice as a fraction, I know 27 hundredths, there's hundredths on the bottom because that's the hundredths part, and then 27 parts we're counting go on top. So this would be 27 hundredths is the same also as just giving you a little extra in there. Don't forget that because that's all related. Right. Problem 2, rounding 5 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to write out this problem. We want to see all this action on your paper. Shows that you're thinking. It helps us keep you accountable, holds us accountable. We can give you better feedback. So remember, if we're rounding the hundredths place value, we know this is the tenths. We know this is the hundredths. We know this is the thousandths. I'm going to round the hundredth just to help me focus on this number. Then I'm going to look to my right, and then I'm going to remember my rules for the 0 to 4. We do no more. 5 to 9, we raise the score. We raise it by 1. And so I'm looking here, and this is definitely in between 5 and 9. So I'm raising the number that we're rounding by 1. Then, so this 1 plus 0 we know is 0. So I'm going to rewrite this 0, 1. And this is the part where we're still seeing students bringing this down. Once you round it, everything after you rounded it, remember the famous song that we've been singing? Let it go, let it go. You got to let it go. It's done. You've rounded it. So it's done its job. It got a promotion. Psh, let it fly. Let it go. All right. So can you see 5 thousandths rounded to the nearest hundred on one of the choices here? I see it. I know you do too. So problem 3, which is another way to write 1,881 divided by 18. Woo! Okay. I'm looking at all these equations and my mind's getting a little dizzy and I'm getting a little nauseous and scared because there's so many numbers and they're all coming at me and I don't know what to do. You do. We're going to breathe. And then we're going to think. So I'm looking here and I'm seeing 2. And I know that when I have a parentheses that I have to do what's inside the parentheses here. Well, if I'm looking here, and remember what we said, when the parentheses butts up to another number, you're multiplying it. So this already tells me 1,000 plus 800 plus 80 plus 1. If I added those all up, that's going to give me 1,881. But then I'd have to be multiplying it by 2. So I can just say, nope, that's wrong. Okay. Now I'm going to add up inside the parentheses because we're using PEMDAS. 900 plus 9 is 909 times 2. That's nope, not the right thing because we're having to multiply it by 2. So that's not right. Now I'm going to come here. 1,800 plus 80 plus 81. Ooh, that's looking a little hopeful because look at all these 8s in this number. Maybe, yeah, I'm going to pick this one. Don't do it. Why not? Because it's not the right one. Let's think about this one now. So if I were to say how many thousands are in here, there's 1,000. How many hundreds? There's 8 hundreds. How many tens? 8 tens. How many ones? 1 tens. Or 1 sorry. And if I add this all up, then I'm going to get 1,881. And then those parentheses, because you solved them, they drop off. And then you have 18. There's your answer. See how beautiful that is? Okay. All right. So I'm I love this problem. This is going to get me obsessed because you're talking about 4 North American hares, and this table shows information about the 4 North American hares and their habitats. So it gives you the species of the hare, not like the kind you grow on your head, the kind that go, the rabbits, or sorry, they're hares. And this is the antelope jackrabbit, the mountain cottontail, the snowshoe hare, the white-tailed jackrabbit. It gives you information about their region, the biomes, the characteristics, all this beautiful information. And then it says from 4 North American hares, which best explains why offspring of any of these species will have physical characteristics more similar to members of their own species than members of other species. Ooh, I know that you have been learning about genetic code and DNA in your science classes, so this one's going to be so exciting. So A, let's look at A as an option. Will it be because they will choose to mimic other members of their species in order to be accepted? They don't choose to mimic other animals, right? It's not like saying, oh, look, I want my mom and dad I want to look like my mom and dad so I can fit in. No, they're not choosing that. That's not right. So A can go away. And how about this? B, because they receive genes from their parents that control many of their physical characteristics. I remember thinking about this and knowing that this inside of their genetic code, everything that they need to pass down is going to determine their physical traits through the genetic code. I know if you made an alien baby, you might remember that. Okay, good. And then how about, let's go down to C. Let's not take this one out yet. Let's take out the other ones first. Because they eat the same diet as members of their species, but members of other species have different diets. Does diet impact, it will impact their health, but not what their physical characteristics are that define that species, right? So that's what the genetics do. So this is definitely not the right thing. This doesn't mean like, let's see here. The rabbit eats bird food, so now it's going to start changing to look like a bird. No, that's not what we're going to choose. Okay, D, because they were born in the same climate as other members of their species, and temperature controls what physical characteristics an organism has. We know that climate does determine some things, but it doesn't control it, right? Your genetics are still controlling it. Climate can influence those adaptations, right, over time, and we've seen that happen, but it's not going to directly control what their physical characteristics are like. So this one's going to go boop, boop, and you have one left. B, aggressive. B, E, aggressive. Okay, there you go. Let's see how well you fast forward all the things, and we will be here to help you.